I'm Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where we do sports analytics on a level that most other YouTubers just can't do. We're not here for the gossip channels. I'm actually going to start doing a bit of that gossip nonsense on Monday Night Show and covering a lot of the things, because I listen to some of these takes and they're just so uneducated and out of touch with what's really going on in the world of football nowadays. And one of the ones I just don't think anyone is talking about is Arsenal. Arsenal have had a great transfer window, but also I think they're the club that's most under pressure because of their fan base. And they should have probably won the Premier League in the last 2 seasons, but they didn't bother to pick up a striker. They have now, and they think this is going to be the answer to their prayers. And it's not. So let me tell you why as well, because I'm going to show you some of that in the breakdown of this video. You can see it already starting to happen. Now, also, this is a pre-season game, and I don't like caveating with that as well, but there is a little bit of difference in pre-season games as I do my hair. I don't often look at myself in a mirror or on camera, but everyone always assumes that you're going to be the exact same levels as you were last year, plus your new players. That just isn't the case in football. That's not how it works. So Arsenal have had a solid defensive record. They've been probably not just maybe the best, or definitely the top 2 or 3 for the last maybe 4 years in the Premier League. Now, that does come at a price of concentration and effort and levels. And there's also another thing that kicks in as well, which is arrogance and complacency, that we're better than you. Well, you're better than them because you worked hard and you did all these right things. You have to still continue to do those things to keep up that same level and to maintain the same defensive level that Arsenal's had. It's a difficult thing. It really is. I mean, they've been great. They should have won the Premier League. They should let Man City win it. But you can see the way that they're sort of defending in this issue here, that sort of complacency. And there's more than just this little complacency issue as well. I think Arsenal are going to score more goals than they've done previously in the Premier League. I think they're going to concede a lot more as well. And that's the concern. If you're an Arsenal fan and you're looking at, okay, so the reason we didn't win the league is because we had X amount of draws. So now we need to turn those extra draws into wins. But you don't want any of those draws to turn into losses because you're completely exposed at the back. I think in the first half, Declan Rice wasn't on the field, which is a massive, difference. And I think Arsenal are going to be one to watch because they're also an emotional team. If they start playing well, they're going to play well for the season. If they have a blip for about 3 or 4 games, they're going to, fall off. And then the pressure starts. And you've got the Arsenal fan base that are going to be going, Arteta out within 10 minutes. And it's going to put more and more pressure on the club. I don't think they understand the Arsenal fan base of how to be fans. You support your team through thick and thin, regardless of how they're performing, good or bad. You just support them. But we're going to have a little watch here, right, and have a little look. So we've got doubled up on players here, but you can see this mass open area here on both sides in this midfield area. All right, so they've done a bit of a transition. They've held the ball, so they're on a defense. They're set defensively. The ball's played in, and look at the space players got to take a shot. It's Villarreal. They're not the best. They're not the worst. They're a bang average team. And you need to do better against a bang average team, even if it's pre-season. This shot being allowed to come off here is too easy. Keeper probably would have it covered. It does hit the post, bounces off the keeper. Now, this is the second ball. This is the part where you go, right, are Arsenal... And I meant to cover it, right, because this is why I need a Monday show. So because there's lots of points I miss out because I don't have time to sit there and look at all the videos. There was a pre-season game where Saliba just kicked the ball away for a corner. He was completely unmarked here. Just had the ball and just whacked it out. And I'm like, that is not the way. Because if he did that in the Premier League, oh my God, like you've just given them a corner. He had all the time in the world to just bring the ball down, pass it out, but he just whacked it away. And you're going, well, you can do that in pre-season, but to me, it's more of an attitude thing. It's a mental thing of like, has he switched off a bit? Has Arsenal gone a little bit sort of soft at the back a little bit? Like, we're better than this. Bit too cocky. And I think they have. I'm calling it now, and we're going to see if I'm right as the season progresses. Chances are I'll be right. Do you see the break? Do you see there's no intensity? There's no sort of effort here to get the second ball. Everyone's kind of just like lackadaisical and wandering around. That should be a full-on sprint. Full-on sprint. The time for him to react, look how slow that is to get there. Look at how much space there is to put the cross in. There's no real intent to pressure the ball here. No intent to stop the cross or shut him down. Just, It is what it is. We'll defend it. We'll be all right. No, you won't. What made you good was all the pressuring and all the good stuff, and they're not doing it. And now you can see as well, look, Arsenal are 1v1 here in the box. There's 4 Arsenal players here not picking up a yellow shirt or trying to get back into shape, in any sort of decent shape. So look, let's just say right back, 2 centre-backs, and there's no left-back covering. Absolutely none. One of these here, I'm sure, is the left-back, and no one's covering. Whoever the midfielder isn't getting back in and splitting these 3. Let's just clear that so I can show you a little bit better. See these 3 here? 1, 2, 3. One of these Arsenal players needs to be getting back in here as fast as he can, and he's not. Watch. Do you see how slow that is? All of a sudden, there's another bundled save from the keeper. Not to blame here at all. His teammates should have been back helping him out. But because Villarreal have got extra numbers in the box, this guy here's got a free run. He's got a free run towards Bump. It's not him that scored, but he has got a free run. That to me is concerning. Yeah, the goal going in on the back post because the left back's not tucked in and helped and got there quick enough, and he has got the time to do it. I'm also concerned about this problem here because that's going to carry on to the next game as well. The left back will see his mistake, and there's one thing in football as well, right? When someone makes a mistake, 9 times out of 10, they don't need to be told. They know. Everybody knows. We can see it. It's the other stuff that needs to be told as a coach. You're looking, going, oh, look, that is unacceptable because that will cost you 2 or 3 goals, during the season. So you need to make sure that doesn't happen. But tapping on the back stick, I think it's Pepe, old Arsenal player, walks away and doesn't celebrate. I don't get this not celebrating goals because you used to play for the team. I will never get that. I can get it if you're a legend and you played in the team. He was a bit part player at Arsenal. Half the Arsenal players, fans have forgotten who he is. But, enjoy your goal. But let's move it on. And this is what it's a better way to highlight my concerns, what we're talking about here with Arsenal. Look at the gap and the space between these 2 players. That is unacceptable. Okay, you've got a midfield runner here running past the midfielder who doesn't even think about tracking them. He's just watching the ball. You've got 1, 2, 3 players around the ball, and no one is close enough or in a position that they can challenge. Defensively, he doesn't know what he's doing, right? He needs to know straight away that there's a player there. There's 2 things he can do. Go to the ball or cut out the space. He needs to be taking a couple of steps back to cut out the space, so that pass can't be played. That means he can then pressure the ball. He can hopefully win the ball, and he's got a second teammate coming in to win him. And what you have done is take away his opportunity to put the ball round behind you, into in the back. Doesn't not too bad, but can you see that gap? Can you see that midfield runner still walking? This guy is still walking. He started here. The Villarreal player, he's managed to run. He's going to keep running into that space all the way there, and they're going to find him with a pass. Bosh, over the top. That's just too easy. Bearing in mind, you had 3 Arsenal players around here in this little tight space to try to stop the ball being played over, win the ball back. So you've got 3 players not doing anything, player not tracking the runner, massive gaps on the back 4. And you're just like, what? This is Villarreal. This ain't Man City. Man City will just tear you apart doing that. The player running onto the ball's not Haaland. That's a problem. So do you remember the 1, 2, 3 players that were down there with all those 2 Villarreal players? Look at how lazy they are to try to get back. He just doesn't sprint. He just jogs. But however, he's almost at walking pace. When the ball goes in, look. Do we see no intention of trying to track the player and get on goal side of him, understanding or realising the danger? There is no covering Arsenal player. There is no midfielder close enough to come over and shut the gap. And you've still got a player free in the middle from Villarreal, because goodness knows what defensively Arsenal would do. When the ball is cut back, we've got a player sprinting from God knows where who's actually trying, sprinting from God knows where, trying to block the shot. One player. And any one of the other Arsenal players could have done it. Now, you can say, they'll step their performances up when they're getting... You can't afford that. You can't have, to afford, we're going to step up our performances. Your performances, if you want to win the league, have to be here all the time. Arsenal know that because they've let some games slip near the end of the season. Not last year, the year before, that cost them the championship. You can't afford to start the season like this. Keeper makes a save and the ball bounces up, and the same problem with no left back. Someone's nowhere near where they're supposed to be. All of a sudden, there's a tap in on the back post yet again. All fixable. But I'm telling you, that's worrying. That's just too easy. Way too easy. We're only in the 30th minute of the game. Arsenal do score again, and this is it's a bit worrying again. If they're scoring on a set play, you're going, yeah, okay, because that's what we're doing last season. That's good, because that means we're covering over. We were scoring from corners last season, and we're continuing to score from corners this season. We can use that as a positive. Great. What am I going to yell about? Same thing I yell about all the time in the Premier League because they are rubbish. If there's a player, let's see if I can draw a little stick man right there on the post. This is not a goal. You can see how Arsenal have pushed all of the Villarreal players back, which has done a really good job. You can see, look, and they've opened it up right here, for this is where the goal's going to be scored. Nobody from Arsenal's on this front post, but yet that's where all the Villarreal players are. If you were coming into the game in a league capacity, you might be a little bit better prepared than Villarreal were on corners for this, but overall, you've got to give Arsenal the credit. Bush, tap in, easy as you like. If there's somebody on the post, wouldn't have been a goal. Now, that's the other worrying thing. Arsenal's goal scoring from open play, is it really there? This is pre-season, remember? This is where you should be getting at least 4 or 5 goals, getting your strikers some confidence and letting goals fly. And it's just not happening. Again, I want to show you how concerning this is. I think this is Declan Rice here going for the ball. Just completely done. Absolutely done. And if you're looking, mark in there, but that's not what you do. The space is important, not the players. If you're in midfield, they aren't closing the space down, and they're allowing a Villarreal player just to walk down the middle of the field with the ball. And you know that complacency I was talking about defending? Look at this. As he goes to play that pass, look at the body shape. He's watching the ball. He's got no idea that this guy's already on a run. He's already turned, and he's already burning him. Not watching him. No idea. Off he goes. Boomf. No one's close to him. 2 defenders, no one's close. It's an easy, easy pass. And because he set off early, he's got those 2 extra yards. And if we try to draw a line really badly, you can probably see, look, he's got 2 extra yards on him there. 1 and maybe 2. And if he was actually at the races, he'd probably be doing right with him, but he's not. Nowhere near. Covering defenders haven't come across. Now, there's another part that will say it's your performance, it's how you're passing the ball, it's your fitness levels and all of that sort of stuff. Yeah, but it's also your team shape. It's way more important. Like your team shape and your organisation is way, way more important in pre-season than pretty much anything else, because then you have a building block to go forward with. If your work ethic's not quite there, you might be able to fix a couple of things. But if your work ethic, your team shape and your concentration levels are all down in pre-season, yeah, could be in trouble. And this is just a straight through ball. Pulls the trigger, finds the bottom corner really well. Dosh, it's really, really too easy. Yeah, but let's cover another worrying point for us. So here we are. Okay, now it's a penalty. Why is it worrying? Because it's the second penalty they've gotten in 2 games. And you're going to go, oh, yeah, but Cash, that's good. We're getting penalties. Not really. Because can you rely on getting penalties in the Premier League with VAR? And you can't rely, oh, we're going to get a penalty a game. Well, that's ridiculous. So you're scoring from a set piece, which is okay, fine. And you're also scoring from 2 penalties, which is not fine. Also, that's not my main concern. My main concern would be this. You've got 4 players stood there where I can throw a blanket over them. Okay, fine. But why have you got a 5th? What's going on? Why have you got 5 players on this side of the field? No sort of balance and structure. If you're playing against a good team, any quality sort of left back, he's not giving a penalty away here. He's passing the ball into the middle of this field and they're going down and scoring on you again. It's madness. Look, boom, okay, he goes over, you get a penalty, great, and you score a penalty. But if you're relying in pre-season on these penalties and set plays, which you're good at, which, you know, I'll give a plus for that, this isn't the way you're going to try to challenge for the league. I actually fear for Arsenal that being title contenders, they just need to be worrying about getting back into the top 4 if they continue to play like this. They've got some new signings, great, but it's got to start working better than this. I'll see in the first game of the season. What I normally do, and when you're doing a proper analysis, it's over a quantitative time. Like you're looking at probably a good 10 games. You don't normally. You've got to take factors in that you're at home as well. If you're, you're Arsenal and you're at home, you should be looking to score more goals than you're doing anyway. You should have the advantage anyway. Villarreal are at the disadvantage. They shouldn't be beating you 3-2 at any time. But other than that, see you next time on Cash Talks Football.